It's Kidderminster Harriers, episode 39. I can't believe it. Kidderminster Harriers fans podcast, episode 39. It's going to be great. We're live on YouTube. We have got the best guest, but we'll talk about him in a second. Tonight's fun is led by myself, Wes. Dr. Dreamy Dan is here just from his football. Under 16s answer to Pep. It's John Smith's as well. And the man who gets free chocolate croissants in Starbucks, it's the housewives' favorite, Nick. Hello, Nick, and good evening to you all.
Evening all.
There you go. That's better. But tonight we are joined by a Harriers legend who made 249 appearances in 2 spells, scoring 42 goals as well. He was manager twice. It's amazing, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mark Yates. Hello, Mark. Hello, buddy.
Evening, guys. Evening. Thank you for having me on.
There he is. There he goes. Yes. So, Mark, are you okay? You feeling good? Are you happy? You talking
I'm
Harriers?
good. Yep. I'm talk whatever you want. Anything you want. If I can remember it, I'll gladly talk about it. Yeah.
I love that. Well, welcome to the Kidderminster Harriers fans podcast, Mark. It's great to have you on. You joined Harriers in 1994 from Doncaster Rovers. Did you take a step down a division?
Did but wasn't a problem.
What was it, Mark, about Harriers that caught your eye?
Obviously being local, but I knew Graham Horner. I knew the way his team had been playing for the last 5, 8, 10 years before that, and it was a great place to be for me. Graham played the sort of football that suited my game, and I loved working under Graham. Absolutely loved my spell at Kidderminster. Yeah.
What was it about Graham in particular? Because a lot of people have very fond memories. In fact, John was saying last week that people even say, well, he should come back and manage again. They were saying that. Just wondering what your feelings were.
He was, they talk about, and it drives me mad. Like, people talk about counter pressing and doing it. Graham was way before his time. All Graham's sessions were about pressing from the front and being on the front foot, and then it was brilliant. And he had such a structure, such an easy structure that it worked. Everything was about the same thing. He simplified everything, and he just let good players play. And I wasn't one of those, but I did the other bits for him and let the other ones play. And he put some great teams together, and it was just it was a pleasure to work under him. Brilliant.
You scored a lot of goals, Mark, from midfield. Were you a dynamic midfielder, would you say? Or were you just in the wrong place by the time? When
I started off, I was a young player coming up through Birmingham. I started off as a centre forward, but I was a bit of a failed centre forward. Really, didn't really score any goals. But someone had a great decision one day to play me centre midfield for the first game. I think it was up at Roker Park, Sunderland, and I scored from 25 yards, my first goal in professional football, and sort of I was stuck back into central midfield then. I think I was better facing the play, and it suited me a lot more. Yeah, loved it.
You did leave. You went off to better things, and you joined. I think you joined some rivals.
Different things.
Different things. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But we won't. You know what? We don't mind that, Mark. We don't mind you joining rivals stuff. You came back. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I left. The club sold me. To be fair, Steve Cottrell came in and offered some money. Steve was building something at Cheltenham, and it just suited me. What Steve was similar to Graham, and he's the way he was playing. Well, was going to suit me, and it was an opportunity. We won the league that year, and I had 5 great years there. But my time at Kidderminster, both as a player and a manager, would always be up there with my best. I possibly played some of my best football at Kiddie. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed playing there.
Who were the best players that you played with at Harriers first time, Mark, would you say?
an emerging Hughes was there when I was there. Obviously, you got the older ones: Delwyn Humphreys, Ocker, Casey, Martin Brindley, Martin Weir, Chris Brindley. Simeon Hodgson, Neil Cartwright. Some quality players. It was really, really good. And then the likes of my favourite two players I ever played with at the Harriers were two of the most favourite were my two midfield partners, Paul Webb and Kevin Willits. I love playing with them two in the middle of the park. The likes of Ian Olney, Neil Doherty. What a player he was. We had some real good players there. John Purdy before that, and it was just Graham knew a player, and it was exciting times at the place.
We did talk about Ian Olney the other week.
Yeah.
Randomly, we're talking about how we get news now and how back in the day we used to get news from the kiddie shuttle. And I just said, I remember we signed Ian Olney one week and it was amazing. Could you tell Mark that he was from a much higher league, from the Premier League?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think he was a little bit underappreciated at the club because he didn't score perhaps the goals he should have done, but his general play was another level. Yeah, and it elevated the rest of the squad. Definitely, Ian was class, absolute class. Yeah.
John, have you got a question about Mark's playing days at Harriers first time round?
Going through all those names there, some absolute legends for the club, and what a squad it was. And the one name, and I'm sure you missed this out on purpose, Mark. Fozzie, Richard Forsyth. It's some of the most exciting, dynamic football that we played, I think, went through him. I know you mentioned, obviously, Webby. If there's one player that you wanted in the middle of the park with you, I'm sure it was him. But what would you say was the best combination there? What squad would you say? At what point did you feel it was the best team that we had that you played in?
Fozzie was a brilliant player. We played together at Cheltenham. He came to Cheltenham later on. He had he moved up and did very well for himself. But like I said, the person personally from the best three that I played with that complemented my game was Wilbur and Webby. They were just a pleasure to play with. We all sort of did a bit of everything. We all, even if I was the deepest lying one, I still was allowed to get forward and get in the box, knowing that the other one would fill in for you. It was just something that worked. There were the likes of, I played when I got there. There was obviously Fozzie was there, Richard, Paul Granger was there, John Deacon was there. So Graham's always been we've been able to spot a player and get them going. And yeah, great. There were some real class players there.
Sorry, where's you carry on?
I was just saying, you moved to Burnley as your assistant manager or coach at Burnley.
No, that was
Steve Cottrell a bit later on.
So I left in '99 to go to Cheltenham.
Yeah,
and I had 5 years playing at Cheltenham, and then I came back under Jan Mulby.
Of course, yeah.
When the club was in the Football League and struggling at the bottom of the table, and Jan just brought me in for my experience. He knew what I could do. He wanted me to just get some experience in there and get older in there, older head in there, and it worked great. Alongside like Dean Bennett, Craig Ington was there, Wayne Hatswell, Ian Foster, Matt Gadsby. Matt Gadsby. We had some good players, and Jan was great to work under as well. He's probably the best player I've ever played with, Jan, and he was the manager. That was just in training on a Friday. He was unbelievable. He was fantastic.
Did he sit in the middle of the park and just?
He was a joy to watch. Even at the age he was when he was sort of the manager here, he was pure class.
So so if we move on a bit, you found yourself coming back to Harriers again, but this time in a managerial role. How did that come about? And was that something that was on your mind anyway, being a manager, Mark?
So what happened? I came back for 3 or 4 months under Jan. He offered me a contract, but they were taking the mick a little bit because they knew it was on my doorstep. They knew it was a great move for me. They were sort of just messing me about a little bit. But I'd done my A licence that summer, and I passed my A licence in the June. And on the day I passed my A licence, Steve Cottrell rang me up and said, "Listen, I want you to come and be assistant manager, first team coach up at Burnley, which was in the Championship at the time." I thought about it for about 10 seconds, and I thought, do you know what? I'm 34, nearly 35. It's what I want to do. I had 2 good years there, and then I think just the fact that it was, it was a bit of travelling, quite a bit of travelling for me. An opportunity was talked about at the Harriers, and it was something I was keen to get into, and jumped at the chance, really. Yeah.
I love that. So when you came back and you assembled a squad to keep us up, right? First season, that was the main goal, keep us up. I remember.
Unfortunately, that's been a theme of most of the clubs I've taken over as manager. Yeah, but yeah, the club was sort of just drifting really, and finding itself at the bottom of the table, struggling to win games. And the lad who scored, we were, from the first game was Woking away. We won 1-0, and my mate Johnny Mullins scored the goal. So I see Johnny every now and again. We always have a good chat about that, and he always tells me that he made my career and got me started as a manager. So I'm grateful to him for that. But it was we had a good little spell, and we sort of pulled them away and pulled the club away and got to safety pretty comfortably. Yeah.
Now the second season ended up with us doing something pretty spectacular, didn't it?
Yeah.
So can I ask you a question, Mark? Out of all your favourite centre backs, who would you say was your favourite centre back, and what would you say was Mark Crichton?
Is that a loaded question?
Maybe it is.
Absolutely. Kreitz was brilliant. I'd seen something of Kreitz at Reddit. Just liked him. I saw him a few times. And Neil being a centre half, Neil Howarth, sort of we both took an instant liking to him, and we kept an eye on him for a bit, and we got him to the club, and he was edit, kick it, proper old fashioned centre half, but he came out with the ball and could play a bit as well, and just a great lad. He got the attitude that me and Neil had. Everything. He was desperate to win. He was a competitor, but he was bottom line. He was a great lad, and we were delighted. And he was a big part of what we built at the club for the couple of years that we were there. Yeah, brilliant.
Do you see him often, Mark?
It's like anything. I keep in touch with a lot of people, but more by text conversations or whatever. There's a birthday party for an ex-player coming up very soon, and we're all going, and I'm looking forward to seeing quite a few of the old boys. Yeah.
What about? Do you know what? What about if Mark saw Mark again? I mean, wouldn't that be great?
Hi, Gaffer.
Oh, you got him lined up, have you?
You all right, buddy? You okay?
Good, thank you. You?
Yeah, you look fit. You're always fit, aren't you? You're still running, aren't you?
No. I play golf more than anything else now, mate. No, I still do a bit. I still go to the gym, and I've got to. But I met Neil for a few pints today.
Thank you for the kind words, Gaffer. Much appreciated.
I didn't know you were coming on it, so I didn't even fall for it. I didn't even think about it, to be fair. So
no one did, Mark. To be honest,
I meant it, mate. Yeah, listen, Christ, you were brilliant for us. You knew that. And of course, your nan made exceptionally good cakes for FA Cup weeks.
She did. Yeah, outstanding cakes.
Added bonus. Yeah.
Was that something you look for in a player? That someone their family could make outstanding food.
Just Kreitz. Just Kreitz. Wouldn't have had it any other way, mate.
Wouldn't have signed me otherwise.
Exactly. So let's go back to Northwich Victoria. Because we had Steve Burr on about a month ago, right?
Okay.
And I didn't realise Steve Burr was the manager at Northwich Victoria.
Yeah.
In that game, So you must know Steve, right? Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Great guy. So we were there, and I'm going to show a photo now that I'm not proud of. But this is me.
Noel Gallagher.
Yeah, this is me trying to. I don't know what I was 25.
That has got to be a wig.
That was great. Yeah, that was back in the day. But I just, Christ, I just want you to look at this scarf here, because when we eventually won it,
I thought it was Simon Russell for a minute.
Yeah,
yeah.
So this scarf here, Mark, when we won and everyone ran the pitch, and I could back in the day, I threw that scarf over you, Kreutz, and I said, give me back afterwards, and he never did. So I'm just wondering the mystery. Can you solve the mystery for me? Where's the scarf now? It's in the bin.
I think I sold it.
I've got it somewhere. I have no idea, mate. It was probably robbed off me. I'll be honest.
Yeah, of course, someone else has got it. I'm sure,
yes.
Absolutely sure. Mr. Yates, you delivered the best 45 minutes of my football life at Wembley, winning 2-0. And I had 2-0. I had 20 quid in us to win 2-0, so I was £250 up at that point. I was going to spend it in the bar afterwards, get everyone drinks and stuff. But then, unfortunately for me, you delivered the worst 45 minutes of my footballing life.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it went. John, you had a couple of questions about that game.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about if that game was played today, I think it'd be a very different scenario, especially in the situation that some people, one or two are complaining that at Kiddie at the minute there's a bit too much game management. Some would say dark arts, the occasional 5 or 6 hamstring tweaks in the second half. I know this is going to be a difficult question, Yates. I know it is.
Yeah.
If you could go back and manage that game again, would you do anything differently?
Would I do anything?
10 at the back.
Of course I would, but listen, well, I can't even remember who had on the bench. We played really well first.
Yeah,
we played really well first half, and they played really well second half. Dobson came on and made a difference, and they were probably a better team than us. They had a better season than us in the league. We should have won that game without a doubt, and it's biggest regret I have of not winning that game without a shadow of a doubt. With the crowd that we took, the people that jumped on board and came down to the new stadium with us. We should have won it for them. We should have won it for ourselves. We should have won it for the club. We didn't. Yeah, I'm sure I should have done things differently. We all differently, but ultimately it stops with me. But I don't, and it is a regret, of course it is. But you know what? It doesn't keep me awake at night now. And you bringing that up, I'm sure I should have done things differently.
Sorry, Mark. Sorry, but
we've ruined his sleep tonight.
Don't be silly.
God, what are we doing?
Not a problem in the slightest.
Your name is always cemented in history, and you've cemented Harriers' name in history. We were the first team to play, and I think we kicked off, didn't we? So we definitely were the first team to play a competitive game at the new Wembley Stadium. That's etched in history forever, and your name is alongside there, Yates, and you're always very, very fondly remembered for not just that, but amongst everything. Whenever your name's brought up, it's always, it took us to Wembley. So thank you from all of us for that.
Yeah, and Mark,
Kreutz, would we have done anything different, Kreutz? Would we have?
Well, do you know it? There's the shirt. There it is.
Fantastic.
I would have. Do you know what? I was proud of my time at the club. Really proud. Sorry, just got short on the camera. And I don't feel like I let you down in many games, Gaffer. To be fair, but I think I did. I think I did in that game. And I think there's a couple of reasons. I think I was a bit rabbit in headlights the season before. I was at Redditch United. I'm having 3 pints before a game, and it didn't matter. I still win MOM. But I played every minute of every game that season. So I think the whole thing, when it came to the day, my adrenaline just sapped every single bit of energy I had left in my body. And to add to that, Steve Morrison and Luke Oliver up top. Luke Oliver's 6'7", Steve Morrison's 6'4". they ultimately nullified my game, because my game was my head. That was my weapon. And if I can't head it and put us back on the attack 40 yards up the pitch, then I that was realistically 80% of my game gone. So I think, when you're a centre half, and there's a massive cliche in football, you got to go and win your first header, you got to win your first tackle, and if you don't, and then you don't win your second, it suddenly becomes a bit like, shit, I'm not really contributing here. And I think because I was still so early in my professional career, I didn't know how to mentally handle that. But what it did mean was the next time I went there with Oxford, I was far better prepared.
You were ready,
I played my proper game, and nothing fazed me. Even when Ryan Clark dropped one in the net, didn't bother me. I knew how to deal with it. So if anything, the only thing I got out of it was a lesson. But it's the one thing that does haunt me, to say you didn't quite do enough that day to sort of help the team. And that's just me personally. I have high standards to win and desire, and wanting to win it for everybody really would have just been the dream. So there's loads of disappointment still sits for me for that day.
I think we were. I genuinely. They had some class players, as you say. Steve Morrison, Mitchell Cole, Steve Guppy was there.
Yeah.
They were class. They had some.
Yeah.
Ronnie Henry, what player, a lower league career he had.
Yeah.
They had some, and we had. And don't get me wrong, we had some proper players, some proper good players as well. But they were really good second half, and we made a couple of mistakes, and it cost us. But
it might have been one of them that we went 2-0 up too early in the game.
Yeah,
maybe we thought that we got carried away, and to be fair, we were brilliant first half. So have we gone in at half time thinking done enough? We definitely have.
You know what, guys? I went on a tour of Wembley this summer. Took my nephew. Hi, Lucas, if you're watching. And I wore my Kidderminster Harriers shirt. Nice and proud, walking around. There's everyone with their Paris Saint-Germain and their Manchester United. And as the tour was going around, the tour guide eventually turned around and said, "What team are you wearing?" And I said to him, "The team that scored the first competitive goal here."
Yeah.
And they all just looked at me blank. And I said, "Kidderminster Harriers." And the day didn't go as we wanted. And the worst part of that for me was I was living in a little town called Baldock, which was just outside of Stevenage. So the next day, the papers were plastered with Stevenage Borough all over it. But it was a hell of an experience. And you guys got us there. And we weren't the winning team, but we got to, step on that hallowed turf. We got to support you guys in that stadium. And even though, we went home ultimately kind of, empty-handed, it was still an amazing occasion. So even for that, we thank you. So you may have ghosts, you may feel haunted by it, but you know what? The fans don't. We enjoyed that day, and just the way it goes, it's football.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Mark, I enjoyed it so much. I had a photo with you, mate.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Is that you, Wes?
Yeah, that's me in the middle. God, I was handsome, wasn't I?
You were tremendous there.
In a boy band, me. In a boy band. And do you know what? I imagine the last thing, Mark, that you want to do was hug a complete stranger and say, "Yeah, that's okay."
That's all I wanted to do. That is when we got to Wembley. Not a problem. Sorry.
I'll tell you what's happening though. Let's have a look at this one, because there's someone up there on the bus not taking it seriously.
The first goal.
What striker he was as well.
James Constable. Was he was
at Oxford as well, wasn't he, for a while?
Yeah.
Was he a bit special, Mark?
He scored both goals. Oh, yeah.
He did.
Yeah. Oh, James was just a proper goal scorer, out and out goal scorer. We brought him in. Did we bring him in from Warsaw, Gaffer, on loan? Was it first?
We got him on loan. Yeah, got him on loan, and then all of a sudden we tried to get him signed, and they wanted money.
Shrewsbury, he went Shrewsbury then first, didn't he?
He did afterwards. After us, yeah, we got him off there. Yeah, but James was brilliant, and proper goal scorer. Born offside, but just what a threat! He played like he was. If he weren't offside, he was like a millimetre from being offside. But he was always on the edge, always running in behind. He was such a threat to teams. He was horrible to play and his ability, and he was brilliant for us.
We were bestest of mates, and when I played against him, it was like he absolutely loathed me.
Yeah,
he was like, I remember him even he tried to get me sent off to the one day, I literally went to the ref and said, "You've got to send him off." And I'm like, James, like, we're mates.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He just wanted to win.
Yeah, he's a winner.
One of those things.
Yeah, he was a winner.
Can we move on from that? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's over now. I can get on my life. I know where my scarf's gone, probably robbed by someone. Well, I'm still 250 quid down, but it doesn't matter. And I know that Mark's okay, and he did want to hug me, and that's fine.
Absolutely.
So, the last person we had on was Keith Lowe, and Mark, he was singing your praises, and he said you literally took him everywhere that you went. What was it about Keith Lowe, Mark?
Keith Lowe, what a professional, what a lad, honestly, what a professional. He could. I went to Burnley under Steve Cottrell, and we got about 15 players, 16, 18 players max, and we needed some young, hungry players to go and to help that squad get any better. And we brought Keith in, and he could play right back, centre half, left back, holding midfield, anything. He'd do anything you asked of him, and he'd do it really, really well. And he was superb. I took him then to Kidderminster, and he was great for us. I took him to Cheltenham, and he was great for us there. Keith was worth his weight in gold. He was superb for us all, and a great lad as well. You know, so. But he didn't always have the best of the things to say about me, because I never played him all the time, to be fair to him. So he has every reason not to. But he knew he was, and he knew I valued him. He knew what he brought, and he was a little bit unlucky on several occasions.
I speak to Russ Penn every now and then, and I told him you were coming on.
Okay.
And yeah, and I asked him about his thoughts on you, but I'll let you say what's your thoughts on Russ, Mark?
Crap player, crap manager.
Okay, good.
I'm joking. Listen, Russ as a player. Russ was me. I could just see myself and him aggressive.
Yeah.
Got stuck in. Could run. Could pass. Could foul when he needed to. Could smash somebody when he needed to. He could do a bit of everything, Russ. And he was brilliant. He was at Alfchurch when I came, I think. But we got him playing. I've upset Russ. Kreutz is probably the only person I haven't upset, and I'm glad it's Kreutz on the club. Too disappointed. I disappointed Russ on 2 occasions, pretty big ones, to be fair. One of the early rounds of the trophy at home, we were 1-0 up after about later. Final warning from the ref. Can remember the game? Did we play Cambridge or somebody? Cambridge City at home or somebody like that? Or I can't remember who we played. But I took him off after about 8 minutes. I think we were 2 up, but I took him off, and he wasn't best pleased with me, because if I hadn't took him off, he'd have got sent off without a shadow of a doubt. And then the other one, one of the biggest sort of decisions that I ever had to make when I was at Cheltenham. I left him out of the Wembley team, and probably the biggest mistake I made in my managerial career for a final. But he's still a great lad, and I hope he still likes me. And I'm sure.
Well,
you've been invited to his birthday.
He's not here. He's not here. Please don't tell me Russ is here as well.
No, Russ isn't here tonight. But I did say, have you got any memories of Mark? And he said, yeah, we had a couple of scraps, which I'm thinking is what you were talking about there. He said he was very good to me and gave me about 5 contracts, should still be in the game. So there you go. I'm sure you get that quite a lot, don't you, Mark?
He's a great lad, Russ. And listen, it is what it is, isn't it? I'm not, so I don't worry about it.
Absolutely not. Right, okay. Nick, Dan, John, any questions? We got 2 handsome chaps in here, former Harriers heroes.
question, if that's all right. You mentioned, Mark, about your sort of scouting mission of Kreutz and obviously Russ at Elverchurch as well. Both players come from further down the pyramid. I guess we had a little bit of a legacy almost at that era through yourself and, of course, Steve Burr as well, around bringing in hot talent from the leagues below, something that of late we don't tend to be doing quite as much of as a football club. What do you think that might be, Mark? And I guess what sort of traits and attributes were you looking for in those days when you did go and get the likes of Crichton, etc., Dean Bennett? I know you didn't sign him, but he's another player from the leagues below, etc. So yeah, just your thoughts on that, really.
Yeah, obviously you've got to see some ability there. That's obviously a big one. But character, you know, you wanted them to be durable. You wanted them to be sort of, you know, not the life and soul, but just sort of. I liked competitive, you know, players who could run, players who were willing to work for the team, or, you know, mostly about the team, not about just about themselves. There was one or two exceptions where, you know, what they gave to the team was far more, you know, for their own ability was far more important than, and you just have to put your arm round them and get the best out of them. But I liked players who wanted to be part of that team work ethic and just good characters, good people, you know, and got a little bit of a side to them, of course, you know, the likes of Russ, Kreutz, and others that was, you know, James Constable. They wanted to win. They wanted to win, and they were desperate to play as high as they could. You know, Kreutz went on to play, you know, league football, and great to himself. You know, he was I can remember him going to watch your first game at Redditch. Big, powerful centre half coming out with the ball and pinging it 50 yards, and just you see bits and it's just worth giving them a chance. And if you get them on a coach, get them on the training ground, and you can spend a bit of time working with them, you can make some good players out of, you know, players from lower down.
And to give like the viewers and I guess ourselves like a bit of a view of you know that process, how often would you be looking at players at that level, both yourself, I guess Neil at the time?
Yeah, I would be out all the time. Yeah, all the time. It was DVDs back in those days, but
yeah,
you know, it's not like now. It's all, you know, you can get some streaming and you get everything set on Y Scout and
VO
stuff. Yeah, but it was about going out and watching games. You go and watch your.
It's
local,
still different, isn't it, when you see someone in real life versus even if you
watch
it
you have to go and see them. There's not too many I've taken that I've not seen him with my own eyes, you know. But and don't get me wrong, you get as many as you get right. You don't quite work as well, you know. The ones that you'd love you think could you do something with, but you know, it's not just I'll go and pluck them and say, oh yeah, this one will work. Some do, some don't, but you know, the ones that do, they stay in your memory. And yeah, we've had some really good players in my management career with Neil and with Jimmy Dack down at Crawley. I've had some proper players. I've been fortunate in that respect.
I did ask the fans of the podcast if anyone had any questions. And Ryan Malpass, he put one in. He says, ex-players from before the money boom in football are still plying their trade in management, sometimes not through the privilege of choice. As a manager at, dare I say it, working class level, is there more pressure in general life? The majority of people don't have as many sackings as football managers do. Good question.
What's the question? I think it's a bit long-winded for me, that one, Wes.
It was a long one. I'm so sorry, Mark. Could someone say that again shortly, please? Took it out of me, that.
I think what he's trying to say is, in the real world, of working world, is do you get a little bit of a longer rope as opposed to in the managerial world, which, you know, 4 or 5 losses on the bounce, you're looking over your shoulder?
Yeah, well, I think you definitely do. Of course you do. But when you go into football management, you know you're going to get the sack at some stage, and that's, you know, a given. I think nowadays it can be, you know, that you see managers lasting 3 months, don't you, and stuff like that. So it's not an easy, because everyone's got an opinion, you know. But it's the world we live in, isn't it? You know, so you know you're going to get the sack if you're a manager, you know, at this level. It's just how long you can stay in it and how long you want it for.
Did you fall out of love with the game, Mark? Would you say?
No, not at all. No, not at all. I just I needed a break. I needed a break of. I didn't want to. I didn't want to be just chasing every job, you know. And ultimately, there's only so many jobs that are out there. You know, everybody wants to be a manager nowadays. They finish playing, like I did, and they want to be a coach or a manager. I had a few personal things that I had to sort out. So it was good for my headspace to get out of it for a bit and take a step back. I still watch loads of football. I still speak to loads of people in the game. I still keep an eye on things. I still go down the Harriers and watch them. I go and watch Liverpool when I can. But a few years ago, it was just the right time for me just to not just want that craving of wanting a job just for the sake of it, you know. And I'm in a much better place for that.
Another question coming in from Nick. Nick says, "How good was Martin Britton for you, Mark?"
Martin Britton was the best crosser of a football I've ever seen.
Really?
Kreitz will tell you more about. Kreitz will tell you more about Britt, because he was in the dressing room with him. But he was a bit of a complex character. Wasn't completely convinced of his own ability in some ways, but he was in other ways. But a great lad, part of a group with Martin Britton. They were class, weren't they, Kreitz? The three of them.
Proper boys, and I don't get to speak to Britt so much because he has had his troubles, and you're right, his confidence was something he struggled with. I mean, Gaffer, do you remember this when I threw him in the showers into the water bottles? We had such a good dressing room, just full of really good people. And one of the best things about the Gaffer and Neil was they never overcoached us. And I think you see that a lot these days, where managers and coaches just coach the life out of it. Whereas one of the things I really loved about working with the Gaffer, and one of my biggest regrets in football is never got to work with him again, was that, yes, we would have enough detail to take onto the pitch on a Saturday. But a lot of the time, the Gaffer would let us figure it out ourselves. Because, you know, the old cliche as well, once you cross the white line, there's nothing the Gaffer or Neil can do for you. So the Gaffer brought in people that he could trust to manage the game, obviously with the detail that was already given to us. And that was one of the pleasures that was being there. But the Gaffer's spot on. He brought people in who had something about them, a bit of character, that could all bring something to the dressing room. And that's what drove us on.
Martin Britton, a little story about Martin. When he was at Newcastle, a guy called Alan Shearer didn't want anybody else. He has to have heading practice from crosses, and he didn't have anybody else delivering. He just wanted this kid called Martin Britton out of the youth team to just get balls and just whip them in. And he spent hours and hours serving Alan Shearer crosses so he could score goals. And that's true. That is, his crossing. He was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Great ability.
Wow. Just wow. John.
Yatesy, I feel like, to be honest, Yatesy, we've asked you some hard-hitting questions, and also I feel like Wes has gone full Michael Aspel at points here.
Don't be silly. Listen, it's not a problem. Honestly, I'm enjoying it. It's not a problem.
One that's hopefully a bit more light-hearted. So there was a headline about you in an Exeter newspaper, and the headline was Yates faces butt probe.
What?
And I'm sure I'm sure you know what that's about. So just very quickly,
Said you were going to take the heat off me. Crikey.
what did Lee Elam say?
No idea what you're talking about.
Okay, we'll leave
I love
that
it.
there. Leave that there. What a headline! What a headline!
It's a good, decent headline. One I didn't so mind you. I was kept away from the extra press for a few months. Yeah, I tried to. Yeah, it wasn't my finest hour.
So Mark, when something like that happens so early on in your managerial career, what kind of effect does that have on you? Do you just hide away, or do you just rise above it, or?
You dealt with it well, personally, but
I had to apologise to a few. I had to apologise to a few people straight away for anything that might have happened. Keep my head down, and I had to learn from it, and I had to take whatever punishment the authorities gave me, and they gave me a little one, of which I was very grateful. And I probably I don't think I'd have got away with it in today's age.
Fine.
And it's not something I'm proud of either, to be fair, either.
Quickly, let's move on. Let's move on quickly.
Sorry, I've killed it there.
Yeah, thanks, John. Matt says, who was the best signing you made at Kidderminster Harriers?
Value for money, he's probably on the podcast with me now. James Constable, in terms of goals he scored for us, and the club made a profit on him nicely in the year that he was with us. I think those Kreitz, we knew what we were getting, and he was probably we got more than we probably thought we were going to get with him. So Kreitz has got to be up there. But James Constable, in terms of pure ability and what he did, he was brilliant.
Who was the best chairman you had?
I only had Colin. I only had Barry.
Norgrove.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Really, really good chairman. He was one of them. He was the old-fashioned one where he was inputting the money in, and there were, with help from one or two others, but he was putting his hard-earned money in. And Barry was great. If he could help us, he would. He cared so deeply about the club, and I still see him up there now and every now and again. And he was top man.
Absolutely. Any more questions for Mark, guys? I think
I've
might
got a
ruin
quick
your sleep
one.
tonight. Go on, Dan.
So it's both Mark and Crates. So I think one of the things that brings me the most pride in sort of what we're seeing in the National League North now is the way that the gate receipts are just going up and up. And, we're getting averaging now sort of 2,500 on a Saturday. You think 10 years ago, we were probably 1,500, something like that. But that puts an added strain and pressure on the players. And what was the dressing room culture like? Firstly, Mark, when you were a player, then as a manager, and then Kreitz, you as well. Like, did you sort of feel there was a change, Mark, from your days as a player to when you became a manager?
In terms of the crowd,
the culture in the dressing room, what was the was it professional? Was it a larking around, like Craig said? Was it 3 pints before a game? Like
no. It was great. Kidderminster's has always been a good club to go to. When I joined Graham, it was like you got Graham, Jimmy Conway, Ocker, and it was part time. It was Tuesday and Thursday, on Monday and Thursday nights, and games, and it was a great place to be. There was banter, of which Jimmy was, the biggest, giving the biggest stick out there. But it was always it was always good. Don't get me wrong. It was on a chips and a couple of pints after an away game, on the bus and stuff like that. And that it's a fine balance whether you, when you're in non-league north, whether that that it's. I went to a game recently, and just the difference was, I didn't see any of the players in the bar after the game, except the opposition players who all had a couple of points because they got the bus journey. I mean, and it's different. What it's almost like mingling with the fans, sitting with a fan, mingling with the fans, having a beer with the fans. You're almost, by not allowing them to go and have a drink afterwards, you're almost taking that away. And it's at that level. I don't know what's right and wrong. When I was at Solihull, Tim Flowers, it was great and worked great with him. Tim couldn't, as soon as the game finished and we'd done 10 minutes of press, Tim was in the bar and he'd throw three of the quickest pints down his neck that he'd ever seen anybody drink, and it was just what he did, and he played for England, so who's right and who's wrong, do you know what I mean? I think at National League North level, I think the punters want to see the players see the players in the bar, and as long as they're not having 7 or 8 pints and getting in a car and driving home, and have a pint and mix with the supporters that that come and pay their hard-earned money, and as long they can have their shakes, so they're refueling shakes on the way home or whatever they do. But it's a fine balance, and I get it. The higher you go, it's the old players' bar things doesn't really happen anymore, So it's it's a difficult one. But there's always been. I always try to promote a good culture, a good working environment where I wanted the players to have a beer together, and because I think that's a big part of sticking out for each other on a Saturday and a Tuesday night. So that was always a big thing for me. Great.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you instilled that into us, and whilst we never took the piss with it, well, a couple of the Geordies did. Specifically, one Geordie, he liked the beer, but it was part of our dressing room, and nobody really took the piss. But we enjoyed going in the Harriers' arms and having a lock-in after a away game with the fans and having a couple of pints and a giggle and a laugh and singing some songs. We liked that, we thought that was important for us to do it. But it was a massive culture shock for me anyway, coming from part-time Redditch United to full-time Kiddie Harriers, and then suddenly no disrespect to Redditch, but I found it pretty easy to play at that level without having to put too much effort in. And then suddenly I'm bollocks deep in one of the Gaffer's pre-season running drills in July, and I'm blowing out my arsehole. And it was tough. I'm suddenly thinking, shit, this is much harder than I thought it was going to be. And I remember, I think it was the second. No, it wasn't. We played St Albans at home and lost 3-1. My debut in the what was it called then? Blue Square Premier then, would it have been?
Yeah.
And I just remember the gaffer saying to me after the game, welcome to the proper leagues. Because we just got pumped by St Albans, who had just been promoted, and it was like, shit, he's right. I need to book up here. And unfortunately it worked out for me in the end, but it took some getting used to, because it is very, very different. But that said, I think it's very important to be able to let your hair down as well, and that's what builds the unity within the dressing room. And we'd have drinks with the gaffer and Neil after the games, and we'd all let loose, and you wouldn't talk football, you'd just have a laugh and a giggle, because it's always serious. You can't always be serious all the time. It's just mentally stressful.
It is. I'm just thinking about whether you guys set out to be or not, but you are memory makers, and you've made memories for myself. I'm sure you've made them for Nick and Dan and John as well, and people watching and people who will watch it as well. I just want to know what your best memories were of Kidderminster Harriers, Yatesy.
Oh, too many to really remember. Honestly, I love my time there. There was, there wasn't anything bad I could say about the club. I loved it. I loved playing there. And I hope that came out in the way I played. You know, I can remember photos where I've scored a goal and I was in the back of the net, like with my arms up, holding the net in joy, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved when I played for Cheltenham, and I loved off the kiddie fans, because ultimately it was about. I hope it was that they'd sort of half respected what I had done there and at the club for 5 years and been a big part of it, and just the whole place. I loved it. It's on my doorstep, and you know, I still go down and watch them now. So not all the time, but as much as I want.
Right, Kreitz, what about you, my friend?
I echo what the gaffer said. To be fair, I've had lots of really good memories, and I was fortunate to have a really good spell as a player there. Won a couple of Player of the Year awards, so did what I probably needed to do, in order to cement myself, in a few people's memories. But I think if you're asking me to pick one, I hadn't scored all season in my first season. I played every minute of every game, and we were 2-0 up against Northwich in the first leg of the playoff of the FA Trophy semi-final. Gone to their place, and we're very quickly 2-0 down. I think it was after like 15 minutes or whatever, and I picked the right time to score my first goal for the club, and it almost felt like it turned the tide of that game a little bit and took the wind out of their sails. But then the better bit still came. The final whistle, I just sprinted straight to my mum and dad, and everyone else in the crowd just jumped into the crowd, and that's probably where I got your scarf.
Yep, absolutely.
And then I remember even going outside the ground after the game. I got on one of the team buses and grabbed the mic and started singing down the mic with the fans, and that was my first taste of proper euphoria within football, I would say. And that feeling that you just can't even describe it to someone. Unless you've done it, you can't tell somebody how that feels. But that was probably the first moment I'd had it in my career.
And
I can tell you,
just from me, just thinking about that now, mine's probably got to be, as much as I'm saying I just love my time there, it's probably got to be walking that team out at Wembley that day.
Yeah.
It probably has,
Stand by.
Oh, blimey, Christ, you all right?
There you go. He's not moved like that in a while, is he?
Oh,
here we go.
He's got them lined up. Yeah.
Wow, excellent.
Absolutely pouring down it was, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there it is.
Remember that. That was such a proud moment. Yeah.
Hey, Christ, have you moved like that in a while, mate? You might have pulled a hammy or something there.
Yeah. No,
not quick enough to put hamstrings now.
Get a rub in a minute.
Get a rub down. Happy days. Any more questions from the panel, boys? Any questions? Dan, done. I think we're all just like, basically what's happened tonight is I haven't told them that Mark Crichton's coming on, and I think it's a bit like, and it is a bit like stars in your eyes, as someone just said. It's a bit like surprise, Sillery and that kind of thing. But what we're trying to do is, the podcast is new this season. We're trying to we're just trying to be as fair as we can to the team that we've got there now, and we're trying to talk about that. But we're also trying to get other people on. Like we had Steve Burr on, we had Anthony Malburn on. Who else we had on, boys? I can't remember now. Steve Burr,
Keith Lowe.
Keith Lowe. Keith, of course. Keith. Oh, by the way, in the dressing room, did you have to go, Keith?
No, we didn't.
No, okay. Yeah, that's straight out. There you go. So it's been brilliant to have you guys on. It's been absolutely fabulous. I always like to end by giving you the final word. So, Mark Yates, this is your chance to speak to the Harriers fans, and just if you want to, you can tell them about how much you enjoyed your time at the club, or you didn't love, or whatever, that kind of thing. But Mark Yates, it's your time, my friend.
I want to wish them all a successful season. The club, from being so close to to it, is it needs to get back up. No pressure on, Adam and the boys, but the club's set up for it. The support they're getting is phenomenal. Keep supporting them, keep getting behind them through thick and thin. I had some great memories there. I'll cherish forever, and hopefully the club can get back to where it belongs, and you keep supporting them and keep getting behind them, and I'm sure they can get up in this season.
Thank you so much for that. That was awesome. Mark Crichton, by the way, just to let you know what's been happening here with Mark Crichton. I've been trying to get him on for ages. Then he goes to me for a bit and he was like, I'm going, which theme park was it you going to? I was like, I'm Sunday night, I can't go. I'm going to a theme park.
Drayton Manor.
I'm off to Drayton Manor. I was like, all right, mate, that's cool, that's fine. But he's here now. He's here for you, Yates. He's here for the fans. So, Mark, do you have any words you'd like to pass on?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I know I've told him before, but I need to thank the gaffer for the opportunity to come and play and try and carve a career in the professional game, because I was 22, 23 and nobody took a chance on me. So Gaffer was the first person with Neil to hang their hat on me and give me that go, because if they didn't give me the go, I probably wouldn't have ever got that chance again at that age. But then secondly, the club itself, the supporters, the way people were with me, but more importantly with my family. Gaffer mentioned my nan. She cemented herself in people's memories at that football club. At the time, she was my biggest fan. God bless her. And my mum and dad as well. Every game they were there. We were part of the family, and that is what helped me grow as a player. I felt loved. I felt appreciated, and I felt like I was part of the Harriers family. And it was sad when I had to leave, but I understood why I had to leave. And again, the gaffer was honest with me in that scenario, and I'll always be grateful for that. But I wish Muzza all the best, former teammate of mine at Oxford. Fingers crossed, they do need to get back up there. It's a big football club that deserves to be playing, at the lower league levels for sure. And just fingers crossed they can do that. I'm back living in Bromsgrove, so I will be coming back down to Agborough when I get a chance, and I will be having a beer with the gaffer and all the boys in a couple of weeks' time.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's just so good, isn't it? Honestly, it's just brilliant. What a way to spend your Sunday night. Thank you so much, Mark Yates. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Mark Crichton. Thank you to Keith Lowe for giving me the messages and passing on the telephone number and stuff like that. Listen, guys, it's been absolutely fabulous. We're now going to talk about Harriers and how well they did yesterday. You're more than welcome to stick around if you want to, but I appreciate you've got Sunday things to do. So brilliant stuff. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
I'm going to shoot off. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks,
guys.
Cheers, guys. See you soon. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Got the legends.
Get rid of your Mark. It's fine. Yeah, cheers, pal. There you go. Wow.
Wow.
Legend. Really enjoyed that chat. I thought it was emotional at some points, wasn't it?
The Wembley memories, they're just wild hearing that. Oh, we had Mark back.
He's still there. I'm trying to kick him from the studio, that's all. There you go.
Great manager, not so good with technology.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Listen, if you're watching, thanks so much. Give us a Fans Podcast, episode 39. Matt, lovely comment. Great work getting those two legends on. Really enjoyed that. Oh man, I mean, has that set a precedence for next time we interview someone, we've got to get two people on? Because that would be a bit hard, I think. But
I think it worked so well just because obviously, manager and former player, former manager, former player. I loved when Crichton was talking about like how it felt like a place for him and his family. That's what a football club is for a lot of people, whether you're a player or a fan. And I thought that was a really nice, a nice moment there, really, to hear that, where we've been a club that's a special part in someone's life, not just on the field, but I guess the wider family off the field as well. So that was great. I love that.
So let's we've got half an hour. Is that all right, guys? Just to dissect what happened yesterday. Is that cool? We're all right. We're all okay.
We're going to leave half an hour on yesterday, but go through
Okay, well, actually, no, to be fair, because the first half was pretty dross, apparently. Nick.
Yeah. So I think that's a fair assessment, really. The first half was a really low-level, poor quality game of football where the ball spent most of the time in the air. Even my 7-year-old was like, why aren't they passing it on the floor? It was just head tennis. But I actually understand it. I think, Corby were there to try and stifle us, put a game plan in place to sort of get the crowd on our backs, I imagine, and just sort of ease themselves into the game and keep it tight and sort of keep it solid. They went down at every opportunity just to break play and disengage the game a little bit, really, it felt like. I sort of backed up TSS last week because I thought he was harshly criticised for his performance, but I think yesterday he really, really found it a challenge yesterday. I thought his quality of performance in pretty much every area of what you'd want your centre forward to do just didn't quite hit the mark. And then when Amari came on, he certainly made a big difference yesterday. But, he wasn't the only one. I thought Walker came on and looked really, really exciting, actually. I watched his performance and, yeah, it gave me a little bit of hope in terms of maybe he is going to get a little bit more time. Certainly in games where the teams are part-time and they're tiring, they just couldn't handle him. It was like kick and rush. You just kick it past them, run past them. And it wasn't just that. His quality of crossing yesterday was really good. Could have had an assist or two. So I think the substitutions, credit to the manager, the substitutions were impactful. He made them early. He made them at half-time. And those substitutions and those players made a big difference. I sat in the main stand yesterday because I did the hospitality at a reduced rate, which was great. And I thought the bench was a lot calmer than it was when I went to, I think it was Curzon away. Much more controlled on the bench. It wasn't quite so much of a. We spoke about it, didn't we, earlier in the season around sort of. Adam trying to really control things and being a bit of a micromanager. I didn't see that as much at all yesterday, to be honest with you. And we blew them away second half. It could have been 5, 6 or 7. Good win. We move on now to Monday's draw. And yeah, I think if we can just set the tempo like we started the second half from the first whistle, that's kind of got to be the objective. We were so slow out of the box. It was just really sloppy. But we are playing a team 2 leagues below, so I suppose we could level that as a bit of a reason for maybe being a little bit, maybe not fully motivated. But one thing I will close on, I thought the support from both teams pre-match was really good. For a reduced atmosphere, I thought Corby fans were fantastic. I thought Harriers fans pre-match made a lot of noise. So that was really good to see. And I know Adam's asked for, I think, another drum in his interview. So I don't know what the wider fan base can do to support. Just can we gradually add things into the mix to get this atmosphere even more red hot, as hopefully the tide is turning a little bit with the atmosphere between the staff and the supporters, really. There you go.
AMS came on as sub. Was man of the match, John? Was he
quite rightly? Yeah, quite rightly. I thought he
shout out to Cam Candola, by the way, who was excellent for the entire 90 minutes as well. I thought he was fantastic, Cam.
Yeah, I think he did what he needed to do very well. Yeah, AMS. I won't say he turned the tide of the game, because that I think we would have comfortably got over the line against them anyway. But he made it a game. He made it an exciting game to watch, and I think for the players to be a part of as well. Within the first 10 minutes on the pitch, he'd won 2 corners and scored. And he was doing everything that, unfortunately, I agree with what Nick was saying there. He was doing everything that Toby Show-Silver wasn't. He was bullying defenders that had the better of the game, probably the first half. He was getting on the end of things beautifully. I mean, that cross from Siziba was pinpoint, but he was there in the capacity that think people have doubted he would still be there, and he showed yesterday that he can absolutely do that. Yes, okay, I get the argument. It's opposition from 2 leagues below, but you can only play what's in front of you, and I think that it was a really positive outcome yesterday. We needed that. I think. I don't mean we just needed the win. We needed that game to be able to get some of the players in the game that perhaps hadn't had that confidence. The 2 players I wanted to highlight, as well as AMS, who was deservedly man of the match, Owen Evans.
Yeah,
Owen Evans looked really, really, really exciting, really incisive. I thought he was showing the kind of confidence to go past those opposition players who were a bit static. He was late. He was finding the right pass at the right points. And yes, there were some things that didn't pay off, but my God, he had a good go. And Tunney should have had a hat trick of headers.
Yes.
Let's not ignore the level of experience that he brings to us every single game. And also yesterday, the communication was just led by him again, and that's just great to see that's there. And one final thing, just off the pitch, I was in the Harriers' arms after, very briefly, and it was absolutely fantastic to see the whole squad in the arms. And I'm so glad that Yatesy said what a difference that made, because that was so just really felt like a turning point in itself yesterday. I feel like we're seeing things that we've said would be possible solutions for this bit of division between the fans and the backroom team coming to fruition. So yeah, thanks to the lads for chat yesterday, and they all seem to be enjoying themselves and just having a pint together, having a laugh, getting on with things, and just doing those things that are just dead easy to do. It's not difficult to sit and have a chat and a pint, is it? Well, depends if you've got your big red book bringing out This Is Your Life, Wes. But other than that,
come on now, come on. Let's see the goals then. Let's see the goals from yesterday.
Over, and there's a slip here now. Gayassi across the face of goal. Spokes scores his 3rd goal of the season. That's a shame for Corby, because it was a slip by a defender, but Gayassi, instead of taking it on himself.
So Gayassi played well, or was it handful?
Lovely vision there. Lovely vision for that, wasn't it? I mean, he could have taken that on himself, and I think, no one probably would have blamed him for doing so. But to be able to just look across the line and spot 2 players running in, that's exactly what we need from not just strikers, but all our players at this level.
Yeah, there was a couple of moments I saw in the
Clark
highlights. I'll let this play.
Finds. Still Harriers leading by a goal to 0. 10 minutes into the second half. Harriers have got a second through the substitute, Morgan Smith. A lovely ball played across an angled ball into the box, and it was a glancing header from Morgan Smith, who with that header should have put Harriers into the second.
Wow, that's just what a cross that was, mate. What a cross. Unbelievable. Yeah. And the last one, Willoughby getting on the score.
Then they lose out. Now Willoughby, is the flag going to stay down? It is. Just a keeper to beat, and he's beaten him for his 3rd goal of the season. Kurt Willoughby, that's just what Harriers were looking for. It's the icing on the cake. They wanted that man to get on the end of it. He did.
Now, for a guy who's supposedly a bit low on confidence, that wasn't the finish of someone who's low on confidence. You know what I mean? It's just got to happen. It's just got to happen, and it did yesterday for him, which I think superb, absolutely superb. Dan, sorry, you were saying.
I was just saying, watching the highlights, because I didn't get to the game yesterday. I was listening to it on Hereford and Worcester, and my usual shout out. They did a great job. But it's good to see Gayassi playing that role of the centre forward. His movement's superb, and you actually see it on the second goal that he there's a run across the front of the box. He takes 2 defenders, and that then opens up the space into the middle. Like he's a real handful. There is a moment in the highlights where he has an opportunity, he gets sort of slid into the 6-yard box, and their keeper's out pretty quick and closing down. But it's you can just see him on the shoulder of the last man every single time. He wants those little balls sort of threaded into him. And I do wonder about this idea of the big man, small man that we've all spoken about before. And is that right for Gayassi? And is he more of that sort of player that wants the ball on the deck into the space behind defenders to finish off? And I think that's going to be interesting to see how the season develops with him up front, and whether we do see a change in tactics and moving away from the long ball forward and trying to flick on, and whether we do see the ball on the deck more.
So we move on to Southport then. What do you think happens there at Southport? There'll be the changes. Have we changed formation to 3-5-2, do you think? Anyone, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, we did. We certainly did yesterday. And I think if you look at when we've had a good run in this league, it has been with a back five, really, but with wing backs. But the perception is that in this league it's a back four division. So I think it depends who you play. I think someone like Jordan Tunnicliffe is a great defender, to John's point, and he's got the leadership qualities, he's got the experience. But me personally, I think I'd be a bit nervous with him in a centre back pairing, just purely on the lack of pace that he seems to have since he's come back. That's been a noticeable difference. So I think Tunnicliffe could definitely play a fantastic role for us. I was really excited when he joined, but I think a back three would suit Tunnicliffe. Potentially Kalimbayi, Tunnicliffe and Obi is a really good back three with different kind of attributes within that back line. And we do have options as right and left wing backs. Devine came back into the fray yesterday, and to be fair, they couldn't handle him. I know it was late in the game and they were tired, but he was just breezing past players. So you've got Devine, you've got Owen Evans. Owen Evans got comfortable in central midfield yesterday. You've obviously got Joe Folks and Walker down the right-hand side. So, we've got a squad where you look at it and go, if Tunnicliffe is fit and we want to get him out on the pitch, then I think it suits that. And I think our forward line personnel kind of suits that as well. Matt's put a message out on here saying that the big man, little man over the last few weeks, and there's no doubt in it. You've got TSS and AMS, and then you've got Gayassi, obviously formerly Mooney, and you've got Willoughby, who are two more sort of smaller, more dynamic, more finisher type players. It's 2 assists in 2 games for Gayassi now. The guy's clearly got a good footballing brain. He made the right decision yesterday in a division and a team at times that makes the wrong decision. So I think that's a real positive. There are rumours that we're going to be bringing in apparently a former Harriers player potentially that the fans will be really excited about. That's what we're trying to make happen. Don't know if that's true. That's a rumour. You would anticipate that being in the forward areas. And I think if that is a striker or an attacking midfielder, then I see no issues with the 3-5-2, because I think it gives you width, which we've not had much all season. We saw the benefits of that yesterday, I thought, with Walker in the second half, with Devine in the second half. Folks is obviously what he is. I think it gives you defensive balance, and it ultimately gives you an extra player in the final third when you've got 2 up there. So I'm certainly not adverse to us playing that, because that's the formation that got us out of this division last time round, and it's the formation that was 1 victory away against our match on Saturday's team Southport from going up twice. So I think it kind of works for us, and I've got no issues with it if that's what we decide to go with, because I think it suits the squad at the moment.
We're completely on Tunney in the back three. I think with Obi and Kalimbayi, that's the desired
dream.
The desired menage a trois, isn't it? Those three. But yeah, I thought PK did everything without much fuss yesterday. I know they weren't. I'm saying they weren't a tough team to defend against. Obviously, they were physical and came to do one thing, but did everything without much fuss. Jack Clark. Quickly on Jack Clark. I think I found some of the criticism of Clark yesterday a bit hard to stomach, because the criticism at the start of the season was He's too lightweight. He's not physical enough for the league. He's not aggressive enough for the league. And then I think that he's worked hard on those elements of his game. It looks to me like. And then the criticism yesterday was he's making rash decisions. He's too aggressive. He's flying into things. I think the ref probably had to give a yellow in that situation yesterday with that tackle. But I mean, I thought his commitment and his timing was fairly spot on. I think you're seeing him become a really key part of that midfield. And I think 3-5-2 probably suits him as well.
Yep.
So yeah, I think let's not rush to criticize too much, especially when we've been. It's sometimes a case of catch-22, isn't it? It's kind of Goldilocks midfielder. It's always too aggressive. He's not aggressive enough. Like, come on, they're players that are applying their trade in this league for a reason, and doing their best, I think, to improve pretty quickly and get up to speed pretty quickly.
It's an interesting one. Just in a comment from the Agbra anarchist. No Cam Candola in his midfield three. Don't know if you want to get the comment up, Wes, but yeah. I mean, there was no Ryder yesterday, and of course he is I think he's undroppable really if he's fit and available at the moment based on what he's doing. A large portion of the Harriers fan base really rate Davis, and I guess you always need a disruptor in there at this level. So I sort of see that, and I suppose it's the last spot is almost that player that can just get on the ball, keep it, do the simple 5-10 yard passes. And I guess obviously he's gone for Clark over Candela, who I always like Cam. He has one shocker every sort of 7, 8, 9 games, but otherwise I really like him personally. And that's not to say that I don't like Clark, because I always enjoy players that can just do the simple and basic things. And I thought his tackle yesterday that he got booked for, where they were calling for him to be sent off, I loved it, to be honest. I thought it was a proper tackle, and then he got done himself in the second half. Don't know whether that was a bit of retaliation from their side, thinking maybe he got away with one in the first half. But I thought it was a fantastic tackle, and I really like him. So yeah, it's an interesting one in there, because you've got Spokes as well. He scores goals. He scored a few goals this season.
3.
He's on 3 goals now. Yeah.
Isn't it nice to be having this conversation again? Because this isn't a conversation we were having after Radcliffe. It was where the hell are we going to get a midfield from? Why isn't Davis in there? Why isn't Reynolds in there? And now we're talking about players that we think, okay, well, they could come back in, and they are playing to potentially that level again. So isn't it nice to have that depth and have a headache again, the opposite kind of headache?
It is. I'm gonna say one thing that I noticed yesterday though, and let's also caveat this with yesterday is a team 2 divisions below us, so I think that does need to be sort of noted. I think the one thing we're going to miss without Mooney, not one thing, there's plenty of things we'll miss without Mooney, but what I think we probably could do with replacing in terms of a profile of player is someone who goes and really sets the tempo in a press. I mean, Riley Reynolds, in fairness, it is kind of that player, but I think it would be useful if I'm not suggesting that we're going to get this player back. We never will. And I know there's somebody watching this podcast that would love this more than anybody. But Sam Austin, again, not saying he will be the player we get back, but he set the tone. He set that press. He was like a man possessed, really going for it in that sort of counter press, really. And I'd like it. And Mooney was a similar kind of player, just rapid, just sees the ball, gets after it, gets in your face, and sets that kind of precedence from the first whistle. And so I do hope who we bring in, I hope he can sort of replace Mooney's energy, because I thought in that first half yesterday, if there's one criticism I had of the team, we didn't really have that tempo. I look at someone like Sam Moss, he was a tempo setter. And again, I know he was a quality player. I'm not suggesting it'll be that type, but I would like a profile of player like that, someone who can really go and set a tempo for us and get that crowd going in those first sort of 10, 15 minutes.
Dr. Stevens in. Do you remember Dr. Stephen from last week? Yeah.
Dr. Dan, maybe you could help.
Well, Dr. Stephen diagnosed Dan Mooney, and Dan Mooney didn't even know what he was diagnosed with until he was told.
He should have listened to the podcast, and then he could have saved
Exactly.
himself some time.
You don't need MRI scans. You don't need them. It's a waste of NHS money, is what it is.
Anyway, it's great to have you on board, Stephen. Appreciate that, mate. Appreciate that. I'm looking at the. Here we go. Sam Austin was the man. He really was. Oh, Sam Austin, my best memory, and John was there with me. I think I'm not sure if you were, Nick. Gloucester away on a Tuesday night. Oh, Lord.
I was there. One of my favourite goals. Watching the Harriers. It was like
Top 5.
I don't know. I can't believe what I was watching. To be honest with you, it was like watching a goal from levels above. It was just a fantastic goal, a fantastic moment at the right time of the season. I just thought that season was going to, naively, I just thought that starting 11 was just so exciting, and I really thought we were going to do it that season. And that night was the night I thought we could do this.
It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, if we ever get another goal like that, otherwise it'd be a miracle. I know we've probably seen the biggest miss ever at very recent memory. Just when we're thinking about Southport this weekend, there's two things that one is kind of, I know I do the odd rallying cry on here, and it's another one. I had an email today from Southport, and I'm sure that you guys, when you sign up to when you buy tickets at opposing clubs, it's all online now, isn't it? So it's all done on computers these days, not on a card anymore. It's all through their ticketing platforms. I had an email today, I don't know if you guys did, and the subject line of the email: Port's winning wave continues versus Kidderminster. Join us, get your ticket, and join the unbeaten run this Saturday. So Southport have emailed all their fans and fans that have bought tickets in the away end for other clubs, saying, come and join us as we continue our winning ways this Saturday, as we continue our unbeaten run. So Harriers fans, they like to rain on our parade. Let's rain on theirs, because that to me is a really poor email from them, and it's made me dislike them even more. And the only other thing that I'm going to say about this Saturday, and we've been complimentary about a lot of players, one of those being AMS. Adam Murray's got to drop Joe Silver this Saturday. He can't start him over AMS. I think that his one really good performance for me, Joe Silver, was Chester away. I think he's had quite a lot of time now, and I think you saw on what happened Saturday. I think for the way the team is going, it's probably not right for him to start on Saturday. I don't know if you guys agree.
No, I do wonder. Sorry, I was just jumping in there. I do wonder if the miss last week has got in his head a bit. I thought it when it happened, and he sort of poked the ball wide. He took an age to get back up off the ground, and usually, you think about that whole get back on the horse, dust yourself down, get on with it sort of thing. It just seemed to affect him, and I do wonder if there was a little bit of that creeping in on Saturday as well. That I guess, I mean, we weren't. I don't think we were overly critical about. In fact, Nick was very complimentary about his performance last week, and. But I just, and the few times I've watched it, I just felt he was very slow to get back up after that. And I do wonder if it's got in his head a bit and there is a bit of psychology going on there. But I do agree, unfortunately. I think from what I heard yesterday, Amari had a great game, played really, really well, got stuck in, and his work rate was typical Amari work rate. And I think it's difficult to pick Show Silver over Amari based on that second half. My opinion, anyway.
Okay. Everyone's looking so knackered tonight.
I was thinking that. I was sort of saying, we all
look at the screen going,
yeah.
what's happened to us? I'm going to lighten the mood a little bit, guys, because we've got a Christmas song. But actually, we're going for the Christmas number one. I know, right? Let's do this bit of magic. Here we go. This is beautiful. If it comes on, it should. you hear it?
The lights are bright, red and white, the Harriers might. Wes is talking, he's got lots to say.
Quite
and
like
smiling wide on this Christmas day. Oh, Santa, paint the North Stand red, fill it with joy and cheer instead. We'll sing and shout, our voices strong. Harriers Christmas, hear our song.
This is wonderful.
John's in the North Stand leading the song. Nick's got the stats, he won't get them wrong. Boxing Day comes, the tradition is clear. Hereford beat and we all cheer. Oh, Santa, paint the North Stand red, fill it with joy and cheer instead. We'll sing and shout, our voices strong. Harriers Christmas, hear our song.
Oh my God.
Snow may fall, but our hearts are bright. Harriers marching on.
I think.
I absolutely love that.
Get the guitar. Get the guitar.
Get the guitar. Can I just say, Christmas number 1 written all over that. Yeah, that's from Andy, the graphics guy.
Andy, that is superb, mate. I genuinely think that needs to be sent to the club. I think that's brilliant.
Why? What
I
are you
want to
going to
hear
do,
that.
Dan?
I want to be there.
Just
I want to be
stick
there
me
on
band.
Boxing Day or wherever we are. I want that played out the speakers. Yes, I'm buying that.
By the way, so you might have seen I put a video up on to YouTube, just a short. It's had a lot of views, and it was about me finally getting hold of this. We've got to admit, this is the best shirt, away shirt in the last 20 years. Surely must have been, and I finally got hold of it. But it is a triple XL, so there's enough room in everywhere. I can literally get everyone in here.
Is the badge embroidered?
No, I've had a word. No, it's not. But the things are it's what?
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, it's the Dubliners. I don't know. Is it? Do you know? The problem is, all right. I'm not going to talk about it because the club ain't going to do anything that we suggest. So it's fine. Well, actually, they have, but yeah. Anyway, right. Any other business, Nick? Apart from you going to fall asleep on the podcast, I thought. You've done well, by the way, Nick. You've done well for a guy who was struggling earlier. You've done well.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. Not really any other business, but I would like to pop a quick question out to the people watching, which is of the former Harriers players, who would you most like that's realistic for it to be in terms of a returning player? I mean, players that come to my mind are Maz, Koya, obviously Hemo. You know, I look at that and think, could it be the return of Hemo? If this does play out, of course, it's only a rumour, but you would think, given that Mooney's injured, that Richard Lane, Murray, they are going to need a bit of a flagship replacement in some capacity. So yeah, be interested to know who people think it might be and who they would like it to be, I guess, given where we are in the season. But other than that, I don't think so. I think we've got a really difficult run of games coming up. We've got a couple of away games, and then it's Chorley at home, South Shields and Fylde. So I think we've got a really good run soon. So if we can come out of those next 5 games in a really good position, I think it could be a real positive start to the new year for the Harriers fans, staff, squad. But I do think we're going to have to raise our game in those 3 games to actually make that happen. So it'll be interesting to see how we get on. But yeah, that's it for me. Cheers.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, mate. Dan.
Firstly, a quick shout out to the lads at the six-a-side team. We had an absolute battle this evening, and I know a few of them were watching, so I promised them I'd give them a shout out. We didn't. We got stuffed. Absolutely stuffed. The team we played were brilliant, though. So, shout out to those guys as well.
No.
The second thing I wanted to bring up for any other business is when you think through history of the famous figures that have come out of of Kidderminster. We've got Stanley Baldwin, of course, Sir Rowland Hill. Both have statues within the town. I'm starting to wonder if we're going to see a statue of Nick at some point, because the levels of fame that Nick is getting within the town right now he is literally Kidderminster's favourite son right now. Can we tell the story of the man who came up to him in Starbucks? Nick, do you want to tell us who you met?
I mean, sure, I can do. So yeah, I mean, last week was quite nice. I think I was coming out of a place in Worcester, and a guy that I'd never seen or met before was like, "Oh, did you get your hospitality tickets in the end?" And I sort of played along, thinking, "Oh shit, I should know who this is," but I don't. Sort of explain that he watches the podcast. I don't know him, and blah 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 blah. And had a chat with him, and it was Phil, yeah, who sent a message into to Wes as well, which was a really, really nice message. And then a day or two later, Steve Davis, a former professional cricket player, came in and was like, "Is it Nick from the podcast?" I was like, "Yeah," and he just started chatting to me, saying that he's getting back into the Harriers. He hadn't seen them for a while. He's come back from where he was playing cricket down, thinking like Surrey, Somerset, etc. And he's just, look, it's not about me. He's just super positive about the podcast and the fact you get information and all the rest of it. But from a personal point of view, like all joking aside, it's really nice when people come and have a chat with you and they're really respectful and just nice, and it just feels like you're doing something good for the community, which is good. And like, I know I'll probably talk a load of rubbish on here, and that's fine, but ultimately it makes me feel good as well when I get those comments. So, you know, shout out to those guys for their nice words, really, that they sent into Wes after. It was really nice that they actually took the time to message you, Wes, to say those things. So, yeah, appreciate that. Thank you.
So what fantastic. Also, the cricketing man said it was like he met Roy Keane. I was like, this is the most surreal thing now. This is the most, like, a former England international cricketer is telling me it's like meeting Roy Keane when you met Nick in Starbucks. What world are we in?
Gonna have to get myself an agent, I think, boys. I think you're dealing with my agent from now on, Wes. If anyone wants to be my agent, just drop me a note.
We're losing viewers now. John, Mr. Singer, sorry, John.
Yeah, so I was in Cafe Nero, and Rusty Lee came up to me and said,
I forgot about Rusty Lee. Technically, she was Bewdley, though. So
yeah, very, very quickly, great outcome yesterday. Not a great game, great outcome, and great to see the players in the arms after the game, talking to people, having a laugh together and with others. So, and Adam and Stuart as well, coming in as well. More of that. That was brilliant. We can't start games in the National League North as slowly as we did yesterday. So I'm just going to bring it back to earth. We are asking for trouble if we do. And what was on display in the second half needs to be happening from the off. So, I said my opinion earlier, and I do think that there needs to be a change of Show Silver out, unfortunately. As we said before, we never want any Harriers player to do badly, but we can't just keep, praising everyone when it's just not clicking and not happening. And finally, let's ruin Southport's party. Let's keep getting behind the lads, and yeah, I'm losing the will now, so I'm going to bed.
Love that. Paul Bayliss. Oh, Nick, by the way, that's for you. That message on the screen.
Cheers,
man. Paul Bayliss. Apologies, I only just logged on. What? Really? You missed the best podcast we've ever done, possibly. I think so. Yeah. It'll be on shortly when we've finished. So any other business, I don't know. I don't think I've got. I must have something.
Through
yeah.
the night, a league to win. Let's push ahead with festive dreams in white and red.
It's gonna be number one at Christmas.
I want it. You've got to send me that.
And you've left an image in my mind of Wes Thompson at the Kidderminster Town Hall singing that Harriers song.
man. I would do as well. I've been in bands. I don't want to talk about it, but I have been in bands.
The band days, isn't it? Probably just from your band days.
Yeah, my band. Yeah, exactly. Sympathy. Before we go, thanks, John. Before we go, score prediction, please. Nick, Southport away. Score prediction.
God, 1-0.
Yes, Dan.
I reckon we'll get a couple. I think the confidence is growing. I'm going to go 2-0, actually. I don't think they'll beat us or get one past us. I'm going to say 2-0. Gayassi gets his first goal for Harriers.
Is it Guy Ass or Guy Az?
Yes, I thought I say it as Giassi.
Giazzi.
I don't know if that's right, Giassi.
Maybe. John.
I can barely pronounce Wes right, so I'm not even going to. I'm
mate,
definitely not the authority on this.
You can't do folks, mate. So that's John.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Giassi to get on the score sheet. I'd really love to see more of what we saw in the second half yesterday. 2-0 to the Harriers.
2-0 to the Harriers. Yeah, Dr. Stephen. Oh, when a doctor sends you this, you know you're doing it right. Do you know what I mean? Go ahead.
He still hasn't confirmed or denied that. He's been very coy with that.
He just knew, though. He could just sense. He just knew. Could be like Stranger Things kind of thing. So yeah. Oh, also we've got the news that we're going to do a mid-season Christmas review, aren't we? On the 21st, after the which we're looking forward to. We should have a bit of planning in there and stuff, which would be really cool. Yes, that's it. So that is us gone. So I'm going to say thank you very much to Nick. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick. I'm going to say thank you to Dan. And of course, thank you to John. And of course, thank you to our two amazing guests. It was the Marks. It was Mark Yates and Mark Crichton. Thank you, guys. It was amazing to have them on. Listen, have yourself a great weekend. Don't forget to subscribe if you're brand new to all this. We love it. We love doing it every week. And by you subscribing would be amazing for us. Now get yourself to bed, everyone. Honestly,
yes.
I'm a race. Honestly, we can't look this tired again ever, guys. It's so unprofessional. Right. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your week. We're back next Sunday. See you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.